Spring is a season of renewal and things coming to life. Spring also means to jump forward and take immediate action. Well, I can't think of a better way to jump forward and take immediate action with your health to renew your body and have things come to life than to remove what is toxic currently in your life. Welcome to the Foundational Health Podcast, where we provide education and inspiration to help guide you on your journey to look better, feel better, and most importantly, heal better. Hello, and welcome back to the Foundational Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Kevin Schultz, and today we are going to talk about spring cleaning for your mind, body, and home, how to detoxify your life. The intent of the podcast today is to give you simple, practical steps to remove toxins from your life. Chances are, unless you've had your head buried in the sand or hiding under a rock, you know that processed food is incredibly toxic. And the more processed it is, the more toxic it is. From rancid, highly processed seed oils to artificial sweeteners and food colorings, processed food is toxic. And the more we eat, the more sick and toxic we get. I'm not even going to talk about food today. I have plenty of podcasts on that, and I highly recommend listening to some of them if you haven't yet, because that might be where you need to start. That is huge, but today we are going to focus more on the other things besides food that are toxic in many people's lives. Almost everybody gets the food toxicity thing at this point. But what you may not realize, though, is the shampoo, the lotions, the toothpaste, the colognes and deodorants, and all of the other personal care products you are using on a daily basis to make yourself look better and smell better in the short term are actually damaging you on the inside and end up resulting in you looking worse in the long run. The cleaning products you use to make your home look great, the fragrances you use to make your home smell better are literally poison to your body. And not just when you get them on your skin, but also when you breathe them in. The nonstick pots and pans you cook with are likely leaching toxins into your food and also off-gassing pure poison into the air. Your paint, your flooring, the trim around your windows are also off-gassing toxic odors into the air you breathe. The list goes on and on. We live in a world full of toxins that are poisoning us, including the air we breathe outside and the water we drink from our faucets. Combine all of that with a toxic mindset, and no wonder we are anxious and depressed, have autism, ADHD, asthma, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and so much more at alarming rates that increase, sadly, every single year. Pretty depressing, right? Well, I'm not here to depress or scare you. I'm here to educate and inspire you. Yes, I'm here to alarm you, but more importantly, to arm you with the knowledge you need on how you can start removing the toxins from your life with products that are safer and better, as well as tools you can purchase, if you choose to make the air in your home safer and better to breathe, the water you drink, cook with, and shower with safer and more clean so it can hydrate you without poisoning you, and most importantly of all, how you can turn your body into a detoxing machine the way that God designed it to be. So here are the top 4 most common things that I hear when I start talking about toxins to people either one-on-one or online or in live event workshops. But Dr. Kevin, toxins are everywhere. They're unavoidable. Yes, that is very true, and it's exactly why you want to avoid them when you can. Number 2. Our bodies have built-in detoxification systems. Yes, that's also true. They do, and thank God for that, but those God-given built-in detoxification systems were not designed to handle the onslaught of toxins that we are exposed to on a daily basis. Number 3, I've read that most products have such a small amount of toxins that you don't even need to worry about it. Yes, that is often true as well, but the problem is they are everywhere in nearly every product, and the accumulation of small amounts everywhere leads to large amounts in your body, and eventually your liver gets overwhelmed and can no longer do its job properly, which is to remove toxins. And this is when toxins start to build in every cell of our body, including our brains. And number four, we're all going to die of something someday anyway. So I'm just going to enjoy my life and eat and drink what I want. And for some reason, this one is always men. Like, I literally don't think in 26 years of being in the natural health world, I don't think I've ever heard a woman say that. And I can't count the number of times that I've heard men say that. And that was my mindset, by the way. If you don't know my story, I tried to eat and drink myself to death and almost succeeded up until I was 25 years of age. And I had ballooned up to 225 pounds. I'm 155-ish now. And I got so sick that I literally became the title of one of my favorite documentaries, which is Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Here's the problem that I personally have with that mindset now. I think it would be perfectly fine if we could just fully enjoy our life and eat and drink what we wanted every day and then felt good doing it and then dropped over dead someday when we get older, when it was our time to go. But we all know that's not what happens. If you eat and drink whatever you want to, when you want to, you feel like crap most of the time, and then you end up sick and diseased, and you don't just drop over dead. You end up living, barely, while your family is left to take care of you. So I would invite you to change that mindset and look at the big picture and not just the big picture for yourself. Look at the big picture of how your choices impact the people around you that you love and care about. Part of our mission at Foundational Health is researching and partnering with wellness products that we trust. Our one-stop health shop is loaded with brands that we not only have extensively researched, but also trust and use ourselves. You can find everything from low EMF, red light therapy devices, grounding mats and sheets, non-toxic mattresses, saunas that help you detox faster without toxifying you, the best water and air filtration systems on the market, high-quality supplements and foods, exercise and fitness products, our favorite books, and so much more. Go to foundationalhealth365.com, click on Health Shop, and you'll find the links to countless products that you can not only trust, but also many that we have discounts set up just for you. Now let's get back to the podcast. Let's talk about how to start changing your mindset. And that starts with removing the toxic junk from your mind. In my opinion, that has to start with things like mainstream media. And so watching the news every day, I don't have to go into detail about this, but we know it's just filled with negative junk. And what I encourage people to do is literally do a detox from that. Do a detox from the news. Commit to 1 month of zero news, and I promise it will be life-changing for you. Or better yet, do a month of zero TV. When it comes to social media, like and follow the right people and unfollow or block the negative junk that you don't want to see, and then stop scrolling. They call it doom scrolling for a reason. My number one tip when it comes to social media or your phone in general is, at the very least, just don't turn it on for at least 1 hour after waking. I get the question all the time, especially after I did the podcast on what my daily routine looks like and what my morning routine looks like. But I get the question all the time of, how do you find time for your morning routine? Well, that's my number one secret. And prior to doing that, I didn't have the time, or I would start to do it, but then I would get distracted because I would turn my phone on. And when you turn your phone on, in addition to all of the toxic junk that you see on social media, all of a sudden you've got the dings and the notifications from email, and the stress starts in from work emails or text message from family drama, whatever it is. So just don't turn your phone on, at least for that first hour in the morning or 30 minutes or whatever it is for you to get through that morning routine. And then in addition to removing the toxic junk from your mind, you have to start to feed your mind with the right stuff. You've heard me say that multiple times on multiple episodes. Feed your mind. For me personally, my primary purpose in life is to leave a legacy of health, wealth, and love. My word for life is intention. And because I remind myself of both my word and my primary purpose on a daily basis, I'm intentional about what I feed my mind with. That doesn't mean I never listen to, read, or watch things outside of those categories, but the large majority of what I feed my mind with fits into those categories because I'm intentional about it. So that means podcasts, audiobooks, reading books, movies, documentaries, newsletters, who I follow on social media, who I hang out with. The large majority of all of those make me a better person and help me focus on solutions and not problems, positive and not negative. It's literally impossible to be a shining light in this world if you focus on the darkness. And this world definitely needs more shining lights. What you feed your mind with becomes your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become who you are, and who you are becomes your legacy. So that's worth repeating. What you feed your mind with becomes your thoughts, becomes what you think about every day. What your thoughts are become your words. You start expressing them. Your words then become your actions because you're thinking about it and talking about it so much. Your actions literally make up who you are, who people see you as, and then who you are becomes the legacy that you leave for your children, for your grandchildren, the legacy that you leave behind. Feed your mind, and the rest will follow. I promise you, if you make this change in your life, things will improve. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you just stick with it. Keep feeding your mind, and all of a sudden you'll realize you're happier. Your thoughts are better. You start saying things that actually surprise you, things that you didn't expect to come out of your mouth. You're like, oh, wow, can't believe I actually said that. Things happen that you normally would have gotten angry about, and you just don't get angry anymore. I say to people all the time that the best is yet to come. It's one of my most common sayings in my office. I say it all the time when I get emails or Facebook messages about people struggling with things. And it's not just something that I say, it's something that I believe, and I believe it because of what I feed my mind with. And that's what I want for other people. And that's why I say that and try to get them to see it as well. So I'm not going to keep ranting about this, but I see people that are just stuck. And I know if they make this one change, life will get better. Guaranteed. One of the top questions that I get typically from moms and then sometimes dads when they're ready to make changes, whether it's detoxifying or any health change for that matter, is I'm ready to change and I'm ready to start eating healthier or exercising or getting rid of toxins, turning off the TV for that matter, whatever it is. But the rest of my family is not on board. What do I do? This is literally a question I get all of the times, again, especially from moms. So what do I do? My husband he's not on board with this in any way. You have to start with a conversation. Absolutely, that's where it has to begin. It has to be a loving conversation about why you want to start making changes. And then you also have to be emotionally intelligent about this, meaning that you have to have the conversation at the right time. So if everybody's in a bad mood and they're under stress and you and your husband aren't getting along or you and your wife aren't getting along, probably not the best time to have this conversation. So you have to time it right and then have a loving conversation and then make it impactful. You have to talk about all right, what do I see in the world with not just you, what everybody sees in the world with disease rates and obesity rates and the people around you. What do they look like? How is their life? You want something different for your family. So that's the point. What does the world look like? What do you want for your family? How you want to be there for your grandkids, and not just be there. I just heard this discussion or just had this discussion the other day with a friend of mine in the office that she wants to be there not only for her kids right now, but for her grandkids, and not just be there, but active and down on the floor playing with them, and to be at their wedding in the future and her grandkids' weddings. So if you focus on those things, I guarantee the conversation is easier. And then also there's going to be a better chance of enrolling the rest of your family in that. And then make it fun. Set goals, short-term and long-term goals. Have rewards for those goals with a fun, active family outing, maybe something that you don't usually do, hiking, walking, biking, whatever it is, a trip to the beach. So make something fun, set goals, set rewards, and then most importantly, make sure that you are leading by example. So you want to lead by example with loving education. So you're not, again, doing scare tactics and anger and why are you doing this? We talked about this already. So loving education and loving reminders, and not just words, but leading by example. Moving on from mind to body. So when it comes to body, let's start with personal care products. Those are the big ones. So with personal care products, they are loaded, and I mean loaded with chemicals, preservatives, and fragrances if you're buying just standard personal care. And I could do an entire podcast on each of those ingredients and what they do to your body and your hormones and everything else. But it's really unnecessary. Those are the things that I think bog people down. So really all you need is, all right, I know these things are bad for me. There's tons of toxins, and I do think some education is important, which I'll talk about. But from there, then it's just simple. All right, those are bad. What can I do that is good? And this is also a tricky area because you can't fall for labeling. Just like you can't fall for labeling on a food product, you can't fall for the labeling on personal care products. And it's so easy to do because they put all the right things on the natural, or on the front of the label, like natural, like organic, or toxin free, and most of these things mean absolutely nothing, just like they do on food labels. So the key is, if you go to places like EWG.org, which stands for Environmental Working Group, EWG.org not only has a ton of education. So if you want to get educated on every single ingredient, you absolutely can. But then what they also have is their EWG verified section, where you can go to that, and those are the ones that they have verified, and their highest recommendations for categories like shampoos and toothpaste and deodorants and all of these other things. And so you can get that, or you can go on there and there's thousands, tens of thousands of products that they have listed, where you can say like, all right, well, currently I'm using Tom's toothpaste. Let's see how that ranks. You type in Tom's toothpaste, and it's going to give you a ranking from 0, which is the best case scenario, 0 toxins, to 10 being as toxic as it gets. And I can't speak for what that looks like right now with Tom's toothpaste, but I use that example because that was the toothpaste I was using before I discovered EWG about a decade ago. And when I typed it in, I was shocked. Like at that time, it was like a 7. Looked fantastic on the front of the label. They said all of the right things, but tons of hidden, awful chemical ingredients in there, gut disruptors and hormone disruptors and all kinds of things that stay in your body, often for life. If you go on there, you can find out all kinds of products. I'm going to give you some of my family's personal favorites. Toothpaste. We use a company called Fig, FYGG, which stands for Feed Your Good Guys. So which is referring to the good microbiome in your mouth. For deodorant, Be Green is an excellent brand. Shampoo, my wife uses a brand called Wellness, which is wellness with an E at the end of that. And then the rest of the family uses Kirk's. So a lot of these, like if you go to EWG and you type it in, like I think Kirk's shampoo and body wash, I don't need the shampoo. My kids do. I use it as a body wash, but I think it ranks a 2 or a 3. So it's not a 0, but it's a great product. It's remarkably better than most, and it's the one that we currently choose to use for our family. And then colognes and perfumes. With this one, they're all toxic because they're fragrances. You don't need to go look that one up. But what you can do is use essential oil body sprays instead. You can buy those online. There's a local place from a friend of mine, Turi, who has pharmacy products. It's FARM, like farm, ACEE. She's local in the Chippewa Valley here. You can find her on Facebook. She makes amazing products, essential oil body sprays and room sprays and all kinds of different things. For makeup, my wife's favorite brand, which is EWG verified and a 0, is called Crunchy with an I at the end, not a Y at the end. Non-toxic clothing. I'm a big fan of, especially, so I do strongly believe that no microplastics are always the best case scenario. So not wearing those plastic clothing that is so popular. I admittedly wear some plastic clothing, but what I don't do ever is have toxic underwear. So my socks, my underwear, my undershirts, my pajamas, all of those things, as well as my wife's and my kids, those are areas where that's a non-negotiable for us. We do organic. So we use a company called Booty for our underwear, Boody. Hannah Anderson makes fantastic kids pajamas. And there are tons of clothing companies out there right now. So if you're on Facebook and you just search for Booty and you like their post, as you know how Facebook works, you'll start to get inundated with 15 other companies that do a fantastic job as well. So there's endless companies, which is a great thing. The sign that there's more and more companies doing this is a sign that more and more people are waking up and looking for that as well. Nutridyne is my number one choice for the vast majority of my family supplements. I'm a huge fan of nearly everyone taking what I call the foundational 4 supplements: a multivitamin, a spore-based probiotic, omega-3 fish oil, and vitamin D3 with K2. The large majority of people are deficient in many of these nutrients, and they are the building blocks to gut health, immune system strength, brain health, heart health, and every other aspect of your health. Don't fall into the trap of chasing symptoms with supplements and instead start to rebuild your health with the foundational 4. We partnered with Nutridyne so that you can save 15% on every order, and not just with the foundational 4, but all of your other supplements as well. Go to foundationalhealth365.com, click on Shop Brands and then Nutridyne, set up your account, and you're all set to automatically get 15% off all orders. Now let's get back to the Foundational Health Podcast. Shifting gears to your home. So we talked about mind detoxing. We talked about body detoxing. So now let's look at the home. Starting with water. You want to drink purified water, ideally a whole house filtration system, but at a bare minimum, you want to use shower filters and then water that you can filter for your drinking as well as your cooking water. I personally use Sentry water filters. I've done my research. I strongly believe that those are one of, if not the best filtration systems on the market. But at a bare minimum, you just want to do something, some sort of filtration systems. And then bottled water. Most people think like, oh, well, I don't drink the tap water anyway. I drink bottled water. Well, bottled water is often worse than tap water, believe it or not. Many times because they have horrible or no filtration systems. They're just bottling water. And then often those bottled water are sitting on heated trucks and in heated warehouses, and the microplastics break down, and it's just, you're literally drinking this plastic infused water. So pretty awful stuff. So water is one of the most important things you can do to help detoxify your home. And then if we look at air, simple, no cost, open windows. Don't have your air conditioning on all of the time or windows shut all of the time. Indoor air, we know, is approximately 10 times as toxic as outdoor air. So yes, we breathe in toxins outside, but it's always going to be better than your indoor air. And that is due to what I mentioned earlier, which is off-gassing of vinyl flooring and paint and window molding, and just, I could go on because everything is made with chemicals, and those chemicals don't just stay in the product, they off gas literally, and then you are breathing that in. You combine that with mold in nearly everybody's home, especially when you're living in northern climates like we do here in Wisconsin. So that's why I'm a huge fan of opening windows, getting in as much fresh air as possible. Also, air filtration systems. Wellis Air is the company that I recommend. They make one of the best air filtration systems on the market. Fantastic in so many different ways. And then when we go into cleaning products, if you just want a one-stop shop, go to a website called Truly Free. But this is also where EWG.org can come in. If you go to EWG.org and you type in cleaning products, you can get their list of recommended products. You can find out about ingredients, all of the same things that you can with those body care, personal care products. You can also replace toxic fragrance room fresheners with things like essential oil diffusers. Nutridyne, for those of you that order Nutridyne supplements already, many people don't know that they also have a fantastic line of essential oils. So those are the essential oils that my family uses. We have essential oil diffusers in several places of our house. And not only are we, not using the fragrance, which is toxic hormone disruptors, but we're also adding like the most pleasant smells into the home that just make you feel better. They help you relax. Some of them have been tied to balancing your hormones instead of toxifying them. And then also they help you sleep better. So many benefits. Number one, they just smell great. Mattresses and pillows. Most people don't know that mattresses and pillows are one of the biggest toxins in their life. So typical standard mattresses and pillows are made with, especially like memory foams, they're made with all kinds of toxic chemicals and fuel oils actually in there, just bad stuff that off gases all night long. And if you consider the fact that you spend a third of your life, at least for most people, on that mattress, on that pillow, in my opinion, it's one of the most important things that you can replace. I recommend and use for our entire family BioPosture for mattresses. We use a different company for pillows that we have on the website. It's a non-toxic organic pillow, but that is a huge area that's often overlooked for most people. If we go into the kitchen, in the kitchen, simple things that you can change. Replace your plastic food containers with glass containers. Whether there's something you keep in the cupboard, in the fridge, in the freezer, just replacing that plastic with glass is absolutely huge. Get rid of Teflon anything, including your air fryers. If you've seen online, and this is all over the place now, if you've seen online that air fryers are toxic, air fryers are horrible, that's why. It's the Teflon off-gassing into your food, into your breathing environment. So get rid of Teflon anything and then change that out with glass. Again, you can get glass air fryers or stainless steel. And this is like for pressure cookers and those types of things. You can absolutely get stainless steel, crock pots, all of that. That's what my family uses. That's highly what I recommend. And then when it comes to cooking, you can cook with things like ceramic, glass, stainless steel, cast iron. Certainly some are going to be better than others, but all of those are going to be better than the non-stick Teflon cookware. You can also still get non-stick. So what my family uses for a couple of our frying pans, we have a company called Gotham Steel. So it's an inexpensive stainless steel cookware line. You want to go for their Pro Ultra Ceramic collection, but it is a stainless steel cookware line, and instead of the Teflon toxic nonstick coating, they use a ceramic nonstick coating. So not necessarily 100% toxin free, but just miles and miles ahead of what Teflon would be. So a great option. We use another brand called La Crusette. I think I'm saying that right without my French accent thrown in there. So LE space CRUESET. And we'll have a link for these on our website as well as in the show notes. But they make ceramic coated cast iron. They're big, heavy duty, great looking cookware if that's important to you. And they actually sell those at Costco now as well, which is where we got them. So, if you listen to my last podcast release with cardiologist Dr. Jack Wolfson, you heard him say multiple times that it really comes down to we need less of the bad stuff and more of the good stuff. Primarily today, that's what we talked about is less of the bad stuff going in and replacing that with better stuff. But the good stuff, the stuff that we need more of, what I'm talking about on every single podcast with what we call the 5 pillars of foundational health. And when you're getting more good food and more exercise and more and better sleep and recovery and better hydration, you're increasing your body's ability to detox. Literally, every single one of the things that I just mentioned helps your body detoxify better. When you eat better foods, you get higher levels of antioxidants. Those antioxidants raise your body's glutathione levels, and glutathione just happens to be the body's natural detoxifier. When you get more exercise, you improve your lymphatic system as well as your circulatory system that help both your lungs and so much more detoxify better. When you focus on high quality sleep, your body literally detoxifies your brain while you sleep through something called the glymphatic system, which is your brain's built-in detoxification system. It's like the lymphatic system, but different and specific to the brain. And with high quality sleep, you can help your brain, as you sleep, get rid of heavy metals and microplastics and other things that build up in the brain tissue and lead to so many problems, including ADHD and ADD and autism and even early onset dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. All of that has been linked to the buildup of toxins in your brain. When you hydrate better, you improve every single aspect of detoxification systems in your body, including the lymphatic system and the brain's glymphatic system. This is the goal, after all. Even if you don't choose to remove the toxic things from your life, you want to focus on turning your body into a detoxification machine. So obviously, if you do both, like you're focused on removing things from your life, getting rid of those toxins where you can and where you choose to, as well as turning your body into a detoxification machine, you're going to be better off. And that's exactly what I encourage everyone to do. The inspirational and educational takeaways from today. Knowledge without action is powerless. So here are your actionable takeaways from today's podcast. Number 1, start today by looking at some products in your home that you're willing to switch out right away. Doesn't have to be everything overnight, but start looking at like what are the ones that I'm willing to switch out right now, and then start making those changes. Number 2, go to ewg.org and do some reading and researching on different products and get to know that website. It's a little bit complicated, to be honest, I think, but there is so much great information on there, and it's a fantastic resource when you're trying to detoxify your life. Number 3, go to foundationalhealth365.com, register for the live event, Spring Cleaning for Your Mind, Body, and Home, Detoxify Your Life, and also check out some of our favorite products for air and water filtration systems, toothpaste, deodorants, and so much more that we have listed on our one-stop health shop. Success equals simple habits performed consistently over time. Again, you don't have to get overwhelmed by this. You don't have to gut your home of every toxic product overnight. Start small, start where you're willing to start, and be consistent. And a year from now, you will have been successful at spring cleaning your mind, body, and your home. Always remember, you are a leader. Lead by example. If you enjoyed today's podcast and found it beneficial, I want you to think about who needs to hear this message and then be a leader for them. Drop them a text and tell them to check out the Foundational Health Podcast with Dr. Kevin Schultz, episode number 43, Detoxify Your Life. Until next time, make health your hobby. Thank you for listening to the Foundational Health Podcast. As always, If you would like to learn more about making health your hobby, visit our website at foundationalhealth365.com and follow me on Facebook at Kevin Schultz DC Foundational Health.